what's up, Guru Nation? Welcome in to the Guru Nation podcast. I'm your host, Spencer the Guru, and we are back at the perfect time, y'all, because the NFL draft is right around the corner, going down Thursday night, first round. We'll kick off then, and I'm really excited to dive into this here today on the Guru Nation podcast because we will be mocking the first round. That's right, we're going to be doing a first round mock draft with a very special guest, Pigskin Paul Guillemette of the GBN Report, the Great Blue North Draft Report. Y'all go check that out. They have a lot of great scouting and draft analysis on there. And so let's welcome in Pigskin Paul. How you doing today, sir?
Hey, I'm doing just fine, Guru. Oh, no, wait a minute. Spencer, that's right. Okay.
Spencer the Guru, yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I feel like we're doing the Karnak bit on the old Johnny Carson show. Yeah, it is. It's fun. This is the week. This is the week, man. And I'll tell you what, it is really dynamic when you've got 4 or 5 top-notch quarterbacks. Because what's the saying nowadays in the NFL? If you don't have a franchise quarterback, you ain't going to the Super Bowl anytime soon. So there should be a lot of sharks in the water over the top 10 picks. And I'm still thinking, I agree with what's being said, and that makes it exciting. There could be a couple more trades in that top 10. And I'm also pretty convinced that all 5 of the top quarterbacks will be gone in the top 10 picks.
Whew, man, that's a big facts about quarterbacks getting taken early, and then I'm sure we'll have them early and often here in this mock draft thing. So let's get right into it. Hello, what's up, Guru Nation? Anyway, yeah, had a successful year, made the playoffs. Took home 3 titles, so I was really pleased about that. Guru Nation! Alrighty, and so we are back here on the Guru Nation podcast, and man, just say I'm really excited for that Pigskin's on with us here today. He's coming with us via the phone line from where at in Florida, sir?
I am 12 miles from the main gate of Disney World.
Okay.
I'm in a town called Claremont, just outside of Orlando.
There you go, Claremont, Florida, baby. So Pigskin repping Claremont and the GBN Report, Great Blue North. We actually have their big board up, so we can take a look at players to see who's available and whatnot. And I'll have it written down on, of course, our board, in which we'll start it off now. Pigskin, our guest, we'll let you start it off with the Jaguars at pick number 1.
Yeah, and they're only about 2 hours up the highway from me. This is a no-brainer, and I mean that sincerely. Trevor Lawrence is one of those once-in-a-decade quarterbacks to come along. And so, easy pick. Trevor Lawrence, quarterback from Clemson, first pick of the draft by the Jags.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, no real controversy there. We all know it's going to be Trevor, barring something insane like as far as him getting injured. But he's he's got a good head on his shoulders. He's a good kid. He'll be fine. He's definitely not going to put himself at risk for his big night. So I mean,
No,
yeah,
I don't think so. I don't think so at all.
Yeah, he's got a great head on his shoulders, and just has all the physical tools to go along with it. I know a lot of people some people have criticized him about his comment about not having a chip on his shoulder, but I'm not worried about that at all. I feel like he didn't really need a chip on his shoulder. I mean, he's just that good. He's that dude.
He has nothing to have a chip on his shoulder about. I mean, he's been a premier high school quarterback and a 5-star recruit. He got his job 2 games into his freshman season. What's there to have a chip about? Nothing. And he got married last weekend. I mean, come on. It's clean.
Oh yeah, he's winning right now. Just going to Jacksonville though. I mean, that's going to be a challenge. He might develop a little chip on his shoulder, considering he might take some licks in the AFC South there to start the year. Well, at least he gets a punching bag with the Texans. At least he'll be able to probably get a couple easy dubs there. But you never know, man. The NFL's a different animal.
Yeah, it is. And a different animal every year.
Yes, indeed. No doubt about that. So I see here on the GVN big board, they actually do have Zach Wilson at number 2, and we're going to rotate, go back and forth. So I'll take number 2 here, and to me, it's got to be Zach Wilson. I know Justin Fields for a while was being mocked here to the Jets, and I actually prefer Fields over Wilson slightly, but it's just the way we're doing this, for those listening, is that we're trying to predict where we think the teams are going with these picks.
Yeah.
Which is what we're trying to do. And so, with everything that being said, I feel like it's almost a lock that Zach Wilson goes to New York. I mean, I personally, I really like Trey Lance. If I was the Jets, I'd probably. I mean, you just traded away Sam Darnold, so it's like, man, to me, with this pick, you've got to upgrade from Sam Darnold. If Zach Wilson is no better than Sam Darnold, then they failed, and they failed epically at that. So they've got to hit on this pick, and I'm not a huge Wilson believer, but I know some are, and if he hits, well, then the Jets will be set up for a while. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I think he's legit. I think he's got a big NFL future. I was very high on Wilson based on what I saw watching some games back in 2019 and 18. 18 more than 19, but in 2019, people have picked up that he didn't have a really good season and blah blah blah. Well, he had multiple injuries to deal with in that 2019 season, so he stuck it out. He played most of the games, but it certainly hurt his statistics for a year. And my comment is, okay, take away the injuries and take a look at his numbers from 2020 and 2018, and I don't care what your schedule looks like, unless you're playing cream puffs from Division II. If you're playing Division I football every week and you're winning, you're going 10-2 and 11-1, and your quarterback is the part I like best about Wilson, quite frankly, or a combination of best. I like his athleticism, and I also think that he has very good judgment. You look at his numbers, and other than the year he was injured, he doesn't throw many interceptions, and that's a big deal. But yeah, the Jets have to hit on this because, and I think that's why they probably didn't, although they don't have any evidence of this, Spencer, but I don't sense that the Jets really look very hard at Trey Lance, and I think that makes logical sense because they don't have time to let him sit behind somebody. He's got to come in and play now.
Yeah, that's a good point, Pigskin. That's a really good point. Because, yeah, they're going to throw Wilson right into the fire. And if yeah, so, I mean, if they figure he's more pro-ready, then, yeah, I could see why they went with that. Well, that's part of the reason why I was thinking at first they were going to go with Justin Fields, was because I thought he was probably the second most pro-ready behind Trevor Lawrence. But his stock has been falling here recently, so that'll be interesting. But now you're up again, Pigskin, with the 49ers, and I think this is really where the fun is going to begin. Who do you have the Niners going with?
Well, I'll tell you what, we got to pick somebody, but
right?
I am still torn on this one because I just don't believe that Jones from Alabama is the third best player, the third best quarterback in this draft. I'm not buying it.
I got you. Yeah, I'm not either.
Obviously, they're playing cat and mouse because they're not saying he's their guy. Everybody's inferring that. So my question becomes, quite frankly, it's real easy here for me. in the sense that, okay, am I going to believe something that I don't believe? Or am I going to say they've been blowing smoke all along and it's not Mac Jones that they're after? You know what? I'm going to say that, and I'm going to say they're taking Trey Lance.
Oh, okay. I like it.
That's why they're hanging on to Jimmy Garoppolo. And unless he's injured, which could happen, or unless Trey Lance is the fastest learner in the history of football, this could be a year where Trey Lance gets to learn how Kyle Shanahan does things, and they'll see how far they can go with Garoppolo, and they'll take a chance that at worst, in 1 year, Trey Lance will be ready, because he basically, he is the most athletic of any of these quarterbacks.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
And that includes a strong arm.
Yes, I loved what I saw from him on film. He looked legit. So I would, if I'm a 49ers fan, I would be stoked if he is indeed the move at pick 3.
Well, I'm gonna make him that. Okay.
There you go. I know my 49er people listening. Shout out to Bogart Scott Free from the GMM Network, Justin from Clock Management. I know they'll be very happy to see that you mock Trey Lance to their Niners. Cause at first they were wanting him, and then they were thinking, that might not be realistic. So we'd rather Fields, but they're just very anti-Mac Jones. So I definitely think they'd be okay with Lance, who is ranked, I see, number 6 here on the GBN big board.
Yeah, and he was ranked. I don't want to confuse things for you podcast listeners, but the GBN big board is done by someone other than moi. I have my own sheet sitting right in front of me. I have Trey Lance ranked 5th.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, that's Colin Lindsay, the editor of Great Blue North, right?
He and Larry Parker, who's kind of our silent partner up there. Larry does everything. He proofs the articles before they get published. He puts together the big board initially, and then Colin will tweak it as the editor. And it's coming up with a big board is harder, I think, than doing a mock.
Right? Yeah, you got to do all the scouting and watch all the film.
Everybody out there, and you find out after a while that there's so many places where what we call in the draft business, and I think you know this one, Spencer, they call them player clusters. And that's when you pretty much you get to pick number 7, let's say, and there are 6 or 7 guys with approximately the same grade. And that's called a cluster. And you break the cluster based on, I don't know, what your team needs, maybe, signability, agent, a dozen different factors. But a lot of clusters in this draft, my friends.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah, it's going to really be interesting to see how all this shakes out on Thursday night. And I'm back on the clock here at number 4 with the Falcons pick, which I'm really tempted to come up with a trade scenario, but they're just, I don't know, now that Lance is gone, I feel like Lance was the one that teams are going to want to trade up for since he's off the board here. I don't really see anybody trading up for Fields or Mac Jones. I'm going to say the Falcons keep this pick and select the best non-quarterback in this class, and that's Florida tight end Kyle Pitts.
Can't argue with that one, my friend.
Yes, and yeah, he's just a freak of nature, a freak athlete, man. Just does it all. I mean, just passes the eye test. Look, a lot of people have compared him to Calvin Johnson, and rightfully so. I mean, he could be a receiver. I mean, he could be a receiver at the NFL level. So I would hear. I mean, then you get not 1, not 2, but 3 great weapons in Atlanta. So at that point, it'd be no excuses for Matt Ryan. I feel like this is his make or break year. Assuming they go Pitts, if they take Pitts, this is it for Matt Ryan. If he does good, then he might stay in Atlanta a while. If he craps the bed, well, he's gonna be out the door, and they're gonna have themselves a new quarterback in 2022.
It could very well be, but let me tell you this, and unfortunately, this is the side of pro football that drives me crazy is the salary cap and the contracts.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's
And,
got
you
that
know,
huge
Matt Ryan
contract
is
tied to him.
almost untradeable
Yeah,
from a financial standpoint.
yeah. They said that about Carson Wentz though, and Jared Goff, and they both got moved this
Yeah,
offseason.
you're right. You're right. Well, the price of quarterbacks keeps going up. You know, we're going to reach a stage at some point, I think, and I'm not kidding here. I think we may reach the stage some point in the next 3 to 4 years where some team's going to have a starting quarterback who's taking up 50% of their salary cap.
Wow. Yeah, they have Mahomes on that $500 million contract. You know, that was pretty insane. I don't know if we'll have another one top that for a while, but yeah, if the thing keeps going up, shoot, it could get out of well, it already is out of hand, so it could get even more out of hand. These
Well, and that
quarterbacks,
is
man.
besides the fact that if you don't have a franchise quarterback, you're in trouble. But besides that, the other factor with the infatuation of drafting in the first round a rookie quarterback is, especially like with Trevor Lawrence, something strange is going to happen for him not to start as a rookie game one. And you know, you draft a quarterback in the first round, and you got him cheap for 4 years, and then you got him at a reasonable price for one more year. And I think we may be coming up on a change in how the NFL does this, and I won't belabor this point too long, or we'll never get a round one finished. But I think, Spencer, what's going to happen here is teams are going to look at it, and there just aren't going to be the Dak Prescotts, the Tom Brady's, the guys that already take up 33% of their team's salary cap. I think teams are going to be shuffling guys, not because they don't like the veteran quarterback they've got, but because they can't afford him.
That's very true, Pigskin. That's very true because I think, yeah, other than you might have your elite group, like Mahomes, Josh Allen, maybe Kyler Murray if he keeps improving, that get the huge deals. But you had the fringe guys like the Dak Prescotts. And no disrespect to Dak Prescott, but the bottom line is he just hadn't gotten it done in the postseason. So guys like that might not be getting or Kirk Cousins, perfect example of one that puts up pretty good regular season numbers, but when the postseason comes, nowhere to be found. So those kind of guys, unless they start performing in big moments, they're not going to keep getting these big paydays with the way the cap's going. But yeah, let's keep this first round moving here, and we've got to pick 5 here to Cincinnati. And I feel like it's down the 2 players,
I'll tell you what, I
Pigskin.
think it's a two-man race
Right,
here
right.
based on who's already been drafted right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's either Jamar Chase, the LSU wide receiver, who was Joe Burrow's favorite target a couple of years ago,
Oh
or
yeah.
it's Penei Sewell from Oregon, so they can protect Joe Burrow a little bit better before his career is 3 or 4 years and done. And I'm going to say that because this draft is so deep in wide receiver prospects, I say Cincinnati is going to be really smart, and they're going to draft their left tackle for the next 10 years, the best offensive lineman they've had since a guy named Anthony Munoz.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
Penei Sewell from Oregon.
Good deal. Good. That would be a smart pick on their part. I feel like that's what they've got to do. As of now, though, I'm thinking they'll probably end up being tempted in the chase. But I mean, I feel like if they're smart, if they're disciplined, I think they'll go with Sewell. Because if they don't take Sewell, then I feel like you're potentially putting Joe Burrow's long-term future in jeopardy. Because I feel like Penei Sewell's one of the best tackle prospects to come along in a good while. And so if he's really that good, which it looks like he is, then I feel like you can't pass up on that.
Right. And let's face it, again, because of the depth of the wide receiver class, the Bengals in round 2 likely can still get a quality wide receiver. I'm not so sure how high a quality offensive tackle they would get in round 2.
Right, right. Yeah, I got you. So we're now on to the Miami Dolphins, and this is tough because I feel like the Dolphins would be willing to trade this pick, but I just, man, if I feel like if you're sitting here at 6 and Jamar Chase falls to you, how can you pass on him? So with that being said, I don't think I'm not gonna get too cute with it. I'm gonna just go with Jamar Chase here at
Okay.
pick 6 for the
Yeah.
Miami Dolphins. Gives Tua an elite wide
That's a
receiver
good
1.
choice, but that's a tough one, I think, in the sense that
Oh,
you
LSU.
know you had Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, and Jamar Chase. I mean, those were the top 3 wide receivers. 2 of those guys have already played with Tua Tagovailoa, and one of them hasn't. And the full size guy with the better numbers is Jamar Chase, but it's tough not to give Tua somebody that he's really familiar with throwing to as well.
I just feel like Chase is the consensus number 1 guy at the position, and so while Smith and Waddle are nice, they both have some flaws. So I feel like Chase is that clear alpha dog receiver. Where Waddle and Smith both a little undersized. Waddle's had injury history. Smith is just so skinny. I mean, I know they both had a good connection with Tua, and it wouldn't shock me if honestly Waddle. It wouldn't shock me if he would go there. But I don't know. I just feel like they're big board. Their talent evaluators are going to tell him, look, we've got to take Jamar Chase here. He's that good. We can't, because the Lions would take him at pick 7 if he would fall to them.
Yes. Yeah. Speaking of which,
Where do you think they go, Pigskin?
Since Jamar Chase just went, assuming, and this is a big assumption this year because one of the real black holes, let's say, of the draft this year is the lack of medical information on these players, because they didn't have 300 plus of these guys go to the combine at the end of February and spend the first 2 days going through test after test of medical. They had a toned down medical combine a weekend ago, and we didn't hear much from it. But I'm going to assume that most of these guys are healthy, and probably later we'll get to somebody that I'm not convinced about, and I don't think the NFL is. So I'll say the Lions, disappointed they can't get Jamar Chase, but assuming that Jalen Waddle passed the physical, and I'm guessing he did, Lions at 7 are going to take Jalen Waddle, and not only is he one of the top 3 receivers, he's probably the best return man in this draft.
That's a good point. Yeah, he's so explosive, so dynamic, to where he's gotten Tyreek Hill comparisons, and I mean that's not something that talent evaluators just throw around lightly. I mean obviously the talking heads do all the talking heads like, oh, this guy's the next so and so, but I mean I've heard some really legit scouts compare Jalen Waddle to Tyreek Hill, because I mean he's got that super speed skill set, he's got the return ability like you mentioned. And I think he would be perfect in Detroit because they need an explosive weapon right now. They don't really have any real explosive weapons. They've got a couple downfield threats in Perryman and Williams, but they're both just 1 year as the stopgap guys. So, I mean, Jalen Waddle gives you a long-term solution at that. I mean, do you project him to be more outside or slot? Like, where do you project him lining up at the NFL level?
Both.
Yeah, both. Yeah, he's versatile.
The other value to him is depending on who else ends up in your receiving core when training camp is over. You may see. I'm thinking you'll see Waddle play both, because if you listen to Nick Saban, the kid's smart enough.
Oh yeah, he's definitely somebody that I feel like you can trust to get it done, man. He actually came in at number 7 here on the big board, and we're 7 picks in, and the top 7 off of the GBN big board are gone. So it's kind of going according to script so far, but this is where it could kind of get off script. This is where Carolina Panthers pick, and I tell you what, I don't know what they're gonna do, but I think the fact that they didn't pick up Sam Darnold's fifth-year option is a sign that if one of the quarterbacks falls, which in this scenario two of them have fell, I think Carolina goes and scoops up Mr. Justin Fields here at pick number 8.
Okay. All right.
I feel like at that point, to me, it's just too good to pass up, and you don't know if Sam Darnold's a long-term solution. Now you bring in a rookie to really push him. He'll make that chip on his shoulder even bigger. And I mean, shoot, if Darnold pans out, trade Fields for picks. If Darnold stinks, well, plug Fields in.
There you go. There you go.
Yep, that actually just came out this morning about that the Panthers would still be open to a quarterback if one fell, and it makes sense because I feel like by them not picking up Darnold's option is a tell. They said they're going to make that decision after the draft. So if they don't draft somebody, then they'll probably pick it up. But if they do, and like in this scenario, take Fields, then they probably won't pick it up. Make him play on a contract year. Really turn up the heat.
There you go, exactly.
Yep. So
now, number 9 spot, the Broncos.
Yep, Denver up next at pick 9.
Okay.
Where will they?
I think they were marginally interested in a quarterback because I don't think they're 100% sold on Drew Lock, but I don't think they're sold on Mac Jones either. So I think what Denver's going to do is they're going to take another Alabama boy, Patrick Surtain, the cornerback.
Okay.
From the Crimson Tide. They traded away Chris Harris, their best cornerback last year. The secondary looks really thin in Denver. And I think rather than Mac Jones, who may be, no better than Drew Lock. I mean, everybody's down on Drew Lock because he had a mediocre year last year. Well, take a look at who his receiving core was last year.
Yeah, it was rough whenever
Sutton get hurt,
right,
and missed the whole season. They had traded away Emmanuel Sanders the end of the year before to the 49ers. He didn't exactly have a lot of talent to throw to.
No, not at all.
And I think the Broncos in this draft will take a wide receiver in the 2nd or 3rd round.
Yeah, they definitely could. I mean, yeah, they took Jerry Jeudy and KJ Hamler last year, but it wouldn't shock me if they added another weapon, keep the depth going, in the days NFL you can never have too many wide receivers. I mean, it's just a position that's just like it kind of like cornerback, which is I like the Surtain pick too. I bet Dallas will be pissed off if that happens because they need cornerback too. So I think Surtain to Denver. I haven't seen it mocked too much amongst the consensus, but I like this. That's the kind of pick that could shock a lot of people, and it wouldn't be a huge shock to me because Surtain's a clear-cut top corner, and I think he would fill a big need there in Denver. So that's I could see that happening for sure.
Well, and this is where you don't know me well enough yet, Spencer, but this is where I am highly influenced by one of my theories on sports, and that is I am a strong, strong believer in the gene pool. If you got prospects in any sport and their father, their uncle,
Patrick Surtain the second,
to the major leagues, you got to take a look at that, in my opinion.
Yep, that bloodline. Yep.
Yeah, genetics mean a lot.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. That's with the Manning kid, Arch Manning already being labeled as a 5-star recruit almost as freshman year, as a sophomore this year, and he's getting so much pub. But I mean, he's got that Manning bloodline, and he's
right.
So it's legit. Yeah, we got a lot of those. 2nd generation guys, especially at cornerback. It seems like Patrick Surtain.
The top 3 of the top 4.
Yeah, J.C. Horn, son of Joe Horn, Asante Samuel the second. I mean, that's a lot of a lot of 2nd generation talent. So yeah, let's see the Dallas Cowboys up next. I think since they got sniped by Denver, I don't think they go cornerback here. I think they're gonna go offensive line because they need to beef up that O-line to make sure Dak and Zeke can stay healthy. I think they go with the second best O-lineman in this class, Rashawn Slater.
Okay. I can see that. If I had this pick, I would take Micah Parsons because I have a bad feeling that Leighton Vander Esch and his neck thing is not going to go away.
Mm-hmm.
I got a bad feeling that he'll be retired before he gets to 30 years old. And I think Micah Parsons, but I can't argue with this. They've had so many injuries, retirements, and they may lose Tyron Smith, the perennial All-Pro tackle, because he's got neck issues now.
Right. That was my thinking with Slater.
You're right. Since they can't get Kyle Pitts and they can't get one of the top 4 quarterbacks, well, they wouldn't do that anyway. But let's just say again, we get to the second round. There'll be some cornerbacks in the second round that can help their secondary. There may not be another Rashawn Slater by the second round.
Exactly, yeah, because I mean he's a pretty high rated prospect, big boy, 6'4", 304. I mean, yeah, that don't grow on trees. I mean, he's a senior, got experience. He's legit. I mean, that's actually would maybe be a slight knock on Sewell is that like he didn't play at all last year. He opted out. Slater a little more experience, but Sewell a clear cut top guy. But yeah, Slater though I think definitely has a chance to go top 10, and Dallas would be a good spot for him. Beef up that O line because they paying Dak and Zeke all that money. If they don't stay upright, then they're gonna crash and burn.
Yep, you got it.
Yep.
You got it exactly.
Yeah.
Okay,
New York Giants.
Colin's favorite team.
All right.
That's why he calls it the Great Blue North. Okay.
I got you.
The nickname for Canada is the Great White North because they get so much snow in the winter. Okay. And winter lasts so long.
Oh yeah.
Colin named the website the Great Blue North out of his love for the Big Blue New York Giants.
Okay.
So I got to make a really good pick here.
Right.
If it ever gets
no
to
pressure.
the loss that I gave them garbage, I will hear about it.
Right.
So I'm gonna dig deep, and I'm really. I guess I should say this. I'm torn between 2 guys, both of which are needs for them, and both of which are among the 5 best remaining players. They're still trying to replace Odell Beckham Jr.
Right. Yeah, get that elite downfield there. They did sign Kenny Golladay, though.
Yeah, their biggest free agent signing, though, was Kenny Golladay. I know he's not the same kind of receiver, but so, one of the guys I'm thinking of for them is Devontae Smith. But, on the other hand, they lost a lot more in veteran free agency from their defense. And because of that, and because when I grew up as a kid, the New York Giants were famous for their linebacker core. You had Sam Huff way back in the day, and then you had Harry Carson, and you had LT, the original LT.
Right, Lawrence Taylor, yeah.
Okay, so I am going to borrow a page from that book, and I think the Giants are interested. They have a history of not shying away from Penn State guys. Micah Parsons, the linebacker from Penn State, to the New York Giants.
I like it. That's another kind of outside the box pick that not a lot of the consensus analysts have, but I could definitely see it. I was thinking about that the other day, and I'm pretty sure I read something that Gettleman likes taking linebackers early. I'm pretty sure when he was, if I'm remembering this right, Pigskin, when he was the Panthers GM, they took Luke Kuechly high in the first.
Guy named Luke Kuechly.
Right. So, I mean,
and he kept Thomas Davis around.
He loves linebackers.
Thomas Davis, give the guy credit.
Yeah, he was solid. Yeah, they gave my Saints trouble.
He had, 5 knee operations, and he still played linebacker in his mid-30s?
Yeah, it was incredible. I mean, they had a great linebacking core, so, I mean, I definitely could see him wanting to bring Parsons in and build up those linebackers to where that's the strength of their defense, and that seems like that's how he likes to build. And so I think that pick could definitely come to fruition. You know, Smith would be tempting, obviously. But I mean, shoot, they've got Shepard, they've got Slayton, and then of course Kenny
from
G
Auburn. They got
and Evan Ingram. So I
Holiday.
mean,
They
they've
got
got some
they
weapons, and of
have some
course
guys.
Saquon. Yeah, so I think they need to probably address the defense a little more. I was thinking maybe Slater if he'd have fell, but I mean he got picked there by Dallas.
Well,
So
exactly. The two big quality offensive linemen are gone.
exactly, yep. So I think Parsons at 11 makes sense. So we're now on to Philly at pick 12, and again, here's another one. I'm torn on two players for Philly. You know, they could go with corner here. You know, a J.C. Horn is very
Yes. Oh yeah,
tempting.
they can use some cornerback help.
Yeah, yeah, most definitely. Or
But
or they could, you know, fill their biggest need, I feel like, and that's wide receiver. I know the dude's undersized, but the fact is he produces, man. Whenever he's on the field, he produces. I don't care what his size is. And that's Devontae Smith, our Heisman Trophy winner from last year. I mean, the dude he gets it done. I mean, kind of like Kevin Durant. I've heard some people call him the Slim Reaper. I mean, it's like he just
yeah, there you go.
so.
Well, I 100% agree with you. 100% agree with you. Once I took, Parsons for the Giants, Smith was the best guy left, and I'll draw an even closer to home analogy on his talent and lack of size. The Eagles, back in his prime, had a guy out of California named Deshaun Jackson who was pretty small as well.
Oh yeah, yep. D-Jax, man, he stayed with him a while, had a lot of success. Great deep
Yep.
threat, you know, return man. Yep, yep. So I mean, that'd be kind of like if Jalen Waddle fell to him, they'd definitely take him. But I mean, Smith's a nice consolation prize, I'd say. I mean, he has a great route tree. I mean, it seems like he can do it all as a receiver, very explosive. You know, kind of like a smaller Julio Jones.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, mini me.
Yeah, because he kind of reminds me of Julio in just the way that he can just like do like a little short thing and then just take it like just a little poster. I'll just take it deep, you know, and go all the way. Like he seems like and he
Sure.
gets a lot of yak yards, you know, those yards after the catch, which are ever important in today's NFL. So I feel like they need that. I mean, they don't really. I can't even name a receiver in Philadelphia right now. I mean, they drafted Rager high last year, but he didn't really pan out as a rookie. He still has time, but
Right.
other than Rager, I mean, who do they even have? I mean, they just say it's a wasteland there for the Eagles at receiver. I mean, you've got to get something to give Jalen Hurts a chance, you know, to see if
Yes.
he's somewhat the
Yep.
guy. I mean, so yeah, I think it's got to be Smith if he's there.
Yep. I like that one.
All right.
Okay.
L.A. Chargers up next. Who you got the Bolts taking?
I got the Bolts. Well, obviously, we all know that their offensive line has been a disaster. But,
Yes.
like we just said, how far are you going to reach? Because Slater and Sewell are both gone.
Mm-hmm.
So, if I'm the Chargers, I'm changing my eyesight right now. And I'm going to say one of the biggest names from the Chargers roster 2 years ago and 3 years ago was their outside linebacker slash defensive end from South Carolina. And that would be
Yeah, Melvin Ingram, right?
He is not signed. He is not signed right now, and I do not get the impression that they intend to bring him back to the Chargers. So, based on that, which creates a big need, I am going to say that they are going to take the guy that rose the most as a prospect in the 2020 season, in my opinion, and that is Zaven Collins, the linebacker from Tulsa.
Okay. Zaven Collins, I like it.
And here's a tidbit for you. At the pro day, Zaven Collins was up to 269 pounds.
A big boy.
Well, and I think what that means is somebody's told him to sell himself as a slash defensive end edge rusher.
Okay, yeah, they put that on his thing, the LV/DE. So that people, yeah, he could do both. I guess could just put edge. I mean, he'd be an
And
edge
that,
defender.
yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. And guess what? That's exactly what Jenkins has been for the Chargers for the last 6 years. So I'm saying Zaylen Collins because they got to replace Ingram.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he's probably at the end of the road, So yeah, they've got some edge guys that'd be tempting, but I feel like Collins. I know he went to a small school, but he's got a lot of upside, and I feel like
Yeah.
it's kind of like the 49ers with Trey Lance. It's like shoot, you might as well swing for the fences. Go with the guy
Exactly.
that's got that
How
high
many
ceiling.
linebackers do you know that have 6 interceptions?
Not many. Maybe none at the. I don't know if any at the NFL have had 6 picks. I mean, that's a lot for a linebacker. So yeah, that would be interesting for sure. Not many people have the Chargers going edge. A lot of people have them going O line. Some have them going corner. But that makes sense, man. Zaven Collins, I could definitely see it. Now we got Minnesota up
What
next.
you got there, buddy?
And yeah, I think we say about O line. You passed on O line with the Chargers. I think Minnesota goes O line. If I can get his name right, I'm trying to if I can remember it. Aaliyah Vera Tucker from USC. I believe that's how he pronounces it.
You're close. Elijah.
Oh, Elijah. Okay.
Elijah. Yeah, it's not the way you and I normally would spell it, but it's Elijah Vera Tucker.
Okay. Yeah, because they need O line help really bad. I mean, because Dalvin Cook's managed to do more with less there, and still do well as a running back. But I mean, they have a lot of holes on their line. I mean, they've got to address that. I feel like in the draft. So Elijah Vera Tucker would be he's a high can play I believe tackle or guard. I mean they have holes all over the line. So I think you just plug him in wherever he fits best, and he'll fit right in there and help out that what looks like a pretty depleted O line from what I could see. I mean I'm not keep up with Minnesota,
Right. They're struggling to
but
put together
as
that
close.
offensive line, and
Right. Yeah.
that is problematical because Kirk Cousins is not exactly a running quarterback.
Exactly. Yeah, he needs some time to throw back there. I mean, you've got Thielen and Jefferson and Cook. You've got all these shiny toys on offense. I mean, I know that very well from fantasy football perspective, as most of our listeners are, I'm sure, wondering where's the fantasy content. It's coming, y'all. It's coming. Don't panic. We'll be right back to it. We want to do this draft talk now so we can get y'all familiar with all the rookies. But yeah, Vera Tucker, they need that O line help. So I feel like Vera Tucker would be perfect to, give those shots. I kind of like with Dallas. You got all these shiny toys on offense. You've gotta keep them upright.
Well, what you got to do is they got to take and lock up Jerry Jones someplace.
Yes.
So that he doesn't draft more toys.
Right.
And if you let his son Steven do the drafting, they get guys that they actually need.
Yeah, like they did Zach Martin. They took Zach Martin instead of Johnny Football.
Yeah. And that one turned out to be a pretty good decision, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm sure Steven looked at his dad like, "You're welcome."
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Yeah. So now we're up to the Pats,
Patriots.
the Patriots, and Wild Bill Belichick. So where do they go here?
Well, he ain't going to be wild right now. I think he's going to be happy because he needs long-term a quarterback.
Yep. Looks like one fell to him here if he's going to pull the trigger.
Nick Saban.
Mm-hmm.
So you already know what I'm going to say next, don't you?
Yes,
the
sir.
Patriots draft Mac Jones, who we thought they would have to trade up to get. And they get him at their regular draft pick, and they don't have to give stuff away to get him.
And that's exactly how the Patriots roll. They don't trade up. Throughout their history, they always either they let the board come to them or they trade down. So I think this makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I could definitely see them just waiting for a quarterback to come to them.
Some draft trivia for some people. When I do my rankings and my big board, and Colin and Larry do it, and all the guys, Walter Football, you name them. We got 300 names on our list.
Yeah.
You know how many names the Patriots go into a draft with when they finally get it broken down?
Like 100 or less than
Less
200.
than 100, 50 or
Less than
60
100.
names.
Wow.
That's it. That's it.
Man. And then no, yeah, no wonder they trade down because they probably like, oh, then none of our guys. Oh, we're just gonna trade down.
Yeah, yeah. And also they trade away their late picks quite often.
Mhm. Yeah,
You
yeah. I
know.
mean, they've done it this long. It's been successful. I know they had a down year last year, but we already know Belichick's gonna be out for blood this year. I mean, with after the way having to see Brady hold up that trophy, you know, Bill is pissed off and
Oh,
ready to
and
bounce
his
back.
team didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, he's
For
gonna do
for
all he
you to
can. I don't know if
you
I trust it. I mean, but I feel like once they're fed up with Cam Newton, they're gonna put it in Mac's hands if he's indeed their pick, and I think
yeah.
he'll at least keep them afloat since they still have a good defense on paper. As long as that defense comes through, they'll have a shot with Mac Jones being a game manager.
Yeah. No, they're, well, as the saying goes, when they were spending hundreds of millions in veteran free agency, the comment I heard most often is, what you are seeing, people, is how badly Bill Belichick feels when he doesn't make the playoffs.
Oh yeah, yeah, and then all the yeah those tight ends, yeah, trying to bring back the Gronk, Aaron Hernandez duo. I don't think Johnu and Hunter Henry are gonna live up to that, but shoot, I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. I don't see them. I don't see them being able to really be that good to live up to those contracts. But I guess you never know. So
Well, it's the old story, and I am sure if we could see and understand some of the contracts that were signed, not all that money is guaranteed by a long shot, Spencer.
right, exactly. Yeah,
You
if they don't
know,
pan out, they might have an easy out. You know,
and
Belichick, he's a cap
and remember,
manipulator. So
teams have to spend a minimum amount every year. So the Patriots, with all the veterans they lost, they had no salary cap problems at all going into this offseason. So they had some money they needed to spend. So you spend it. You know,
yeah,
I love the moves like Kyle Van Noy goes to Miami for 1 year, gets a big bonus and a big contract. Miami says, he's not exactly what we want here. Let him go, and he's right back with the Patriots.
yep, yep, yep. That's just how they roll.
And
So we're up to the Cardinals here next, and I
yeah,
think
your turn. Go for it.
yeah, let's say yeah, they got. I think they're gonna have to go corner here, and
Yep.
the next best corner available is the son of Joe Horn, J.C. Horn, and I definitely see him being selected here. He could go a lot higher than this. You know, just the way it's shaken out, though it hadn't really been favorable to him. But shoot, 16 ain't bad. I mean, the Cardinals, that's a team that's ready to win now. And I mean, they could use another corner, especially after losing longtime veteran Patrick Peterson. I mean, now that he's out the door, I think J.C. Horn slides right in there and is be a lockdown corner there for years to come.
Yeah, yeah, I think you're right. Okay, let's keep moving here. The
Yes, sir.
Las Vegas
The
Raiders.
Raiders, another crazy franchise. Where do they go?
Yes, really. And I think there is a heck of a battle there, and there will be a. I think every year when it gets to this stage of reshaping the roster and going into the draft, I think there's a after the Jerry Jones scenario, the next best chaos is Mike Mayock trying to talk common sense to John Gruden about
Yes.
what they should pick and who they should pick.
Yeah, this pick could
And
go
John
any
Gruden
number
wants
of
another quarterback.
directions.
Luckily in our draft, all five quarterbacks are gone. So Chucky won't be driving Mayock crazy to draft a quarterback.
Right?
Okay? Um, they need to rebuild their offensive line, but I'm not convinced because you took Vera Tucker. I'm not convinced that they're ready to grab the next best guy, Christian Darrisaw from Virginia Tech. I'm not convinced they're ready to grab him. So I'm going to say the one thing that they've been crying about the last couple years on defense is they don't have the edge rushers.
Mm-hmm.
And they did sign Yannick Ngakoue, who had been with Jacksonville and then made the rounds. I think they're going to go for another edge rusher, and they're going to take Azeez Ojulari, the edge rushing outside linebacker from Georgia. He is a young 20-year-old stud.
I got you. I'm just gonna copy and paste his name from the GBN because I have no idea how to spell that. But yeah, man, I've heard a little bit about him. I haven't not like super familiar with him, but yeah, I could see the Raiders going in that direction. We know Chucky loves athletes, and I mean if he's that physical specimen, like you just said, then yeah, I could see him going in that direction for sure. You know, because a lot of times people peg. I guess all the consensus has them going O line, but I kind of think they don't go O line. I think they go the direction that I think they go with probably the best athlete available, which is why like I know corner isn't a huge need for them, but it wouldn't shock me if they went like went Caleb Farley, being somebody be a risk, but is a great athlete, But I could see Aziz for sure, edge rusher. It's like they don't like with Ngakwe. It's not a huge need. It's probably as big of a need as O line, but shoot, Gruden doesn't worry about need. He goes best player available in his opinion.
And Mayock as well.
Right? Yeah, they
Mayock.
seem to like they're not afraid to reach. I never can get their pick right. Like last year, and they took Henry Ruggs. I thought they were gonna take Jerry Jeudy, but nope, they took Henry Ruggs. So
well, actually, last year watching it when they took Ruggs, my comment was, "My God, the ghost of Al Davis did move to Las Vegas with his team. They took the fastest guy at the combine."
Yep, kind of, and I think honestly, I think the ghost of Al Davis returned whenever they hired John Gruden.
Yeah.
That's what I like. I feel like it's like they were kind of starting to seemed like they were kind of going away from that direction, but then they hire Gruden. It's like, oh Lord, it feels like it's the old Raiders again.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do now. Miami again.
Yeah, Miami.
Oh, Miami again, man. I get another Miami pick. Lord, where do they go? Where do they go here?
Well,
man,
you
this
got
is.
a wide receiver with the
Yep,
first.
they got Chase. They got Chase first. So what do they do with this pick? It's kind of tough because I feel like they could go in a lot of different directions. Honestly, I mean, I think they could. They could go edge. Like, I mean, I think.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna go ahead. Since they took offense there, I'm gonna go ahead and give them edge and go. I mean, it's tough between these. I guess I'll go with Quiddy Pay. He's from Michigan. I feel like he's somebody that could go even higher than this, but I think this would probably be around where he ends up. So we're gonna give him Quiddy Pay from the Michigan Wolverines.
Okay, I like that.
Yep. I mean, you know what I almost did? I almost gave him Najee Harris, but I don't know. I don't think Miami's gonna go.
I thought of that too, but
yeah, I don't think they're gonna pull the trigger on that.
Get a running back next round.
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't think they're gonna go quite. And they just took offense, with Chase. So I don't think they'll go in that direction. I think Quiddy Pay probably has a little more upside and maybe even a little safer. So that's where I think they'll go. Now the Washington football team up next. Who you got Washington going with?
Yeah, the Washington football team. Well, they certainly. I mean, it looks to me like Ron Rivera, as expected, is reshaping this team, and he's doing it the right way. They have plenty of needs still, and I think some of what they need, coincidentally, happens to be where I think one of the best young players is still on our board, and that's the kid from Notre Dame, the linebacker safety hybrid, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah.
Okay, yeah, I could see that. I could see that's another one I have to copy and paste. Thanks GBN for spelling that for us, because that would be a tough one.
Yeah, J-O-K. Call him J-O-K.
J-O-K, yeah. I think he's somebody that, yeah, he could go even higher, but I think 19 is a good landing spot for him. And Washington already has a solid defense being built up, but shoot, add him to the mix and they're even stronger. Because, I mean, they've had a really good offseason. I like the Fitzmagic signing, get a veteran quarterback in there now that Alex Smith's out the door. And, great that he came back last year, but you could tell he wasn't quite himself. I mean, shoot, he almost lost his leg. I mean, can't blame the man. It's just.
Used to do.
Right.
I'll tell you what, Spencer, this doesn't matter to anybody, but I am glad he came back.
Oh yeah,
You know,
most
it wasn't
definitely.
even a, it wasn't even a, there wasn't even a second place guy for comeback player of the year. It
No,
had to
yeah,
be
it was
him.
unanimous. Yeah, it had to be
But you,
him. I mean,
yeah, but you know what? Watching him, and especially when he had to take off and move a little bit, I closed my eyes
yeah, it
because
wasn't
all I could
pretty.
see was that leg just being snapped.
Yeah, it was not pretty. Yeah, he just you could. I
No,
mean, he obviously. I mean, who wouldn't be a little gunshot? I mean, he did all he could. I mean, and then the cat Taylor Heineke did good in the playoffs. You know, so I mean, hey, him and Fitzmagic can battle it out, and they added some weapons. You know, with Curtis Samuel this
yeah,
offseason, I think he could be a potential, really good weapon there. You know, Antonio Gibson, and of course Terry McLaurin, Scary Terry. I mean, they've got a lot of good stuff there. Logan Thomas, I believe it
yeah.
was a former quarterback turned tight end. You know, I mean, they've got weapons there, and I mean their defense is good. I mean, I think Washington, the Dallas people are gonna hate me, but I think Washington's still the favorite in the NFC East.
You know what? I think they're real. Yep, I think they got something going, man. I'm telling you, Ron Rivera knows his stuff.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, the
Riverboat Ron.
Bears, right?
Da Bears up next
Yeah.
at pick
So what do you
20.
got for the Bears, Mr. Spencer?
Man. Yeah, I have to scan the board here because I would usually mock a quarterback to Da Bears, but now all the quarterbacks are gone. I think, man,
Well,
what
you
are
got
they?
Farley still there.
I was about to say, actually, I think Farley, like, I mean, there's not really, they don't really have any huge needs, but I believe they lost Fuller this offseason, right? Kyle Fuller?
Yes, they because of salary cap. Yeah.
Right, so yeah, I think they go ahead and draft his replacement here, Caleb Farley. I think he's just too
Okay.
good to pass up here. I mean, I know he's had the back problems, but he's got all. He would be up there with Sertain if it wasn't for that. So I think he's a steal here at 20. The Bears are in win now mode with Pace and Nagy. They've got to make something happen, and
Yeah.
it starts with their defense. They're gonna have to win with defense. So
Yeah.
Farley's the move here
Exactly.
for me. I think they've
Okay,
got to
so
do
now the
it.
Colts here. We'll keep it
Yep, the
moving. The Colts.
Indianapolis Colts. Yes,
Um,
sir.
the best guys on my board are both running backs right now. But
Yep, they
I
don't
don't
need one though
see,
with Jonathan
yeah,
Taylor.
Najee Harris and Travis Etienne.
Yep.
To me, those guys are number one running backs in the NFL. But the Colts just took Jonathan Taylor in a steal last year, second round,
Yeah, no doubt.
and they got Mack back to be his backup. So they don't really need a running back.
Not at all. Yeah, and
So
Naheem Hines.
my
So.
two choices, you notice I always end up having like two choices, right?
Yeah.
Okay. My two choices are Christian Darrisaw, the offensive tackle from Virginia Tech, because Anthony Costanzo retired finally. He was going to retire last year and then he came back. He's been their starting left tackle for 9 seasons.
Yeah, since 2012, I think he was in the he was around when they had Andrew
They
Luck.
got to replace him, and they got to protect Carson Wentz.
Yep.
But athletically, I like the linebacker from Kentucky that came on after Zevon Collins. He was the second most improved player as a senior, actually a junior, and that is Jamin Davis from Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to go with Darrisaw from Virginia Tech because they need a quality left tackle.
That makes sense. Yeah, I could definitely see it for sure. I mean, I was thinking maybe they'd go defense, but I mean, they don't really need defense for them. I mean, they're solid on defense. If anything, they probably need more help on offense. So yeah, I could see them rolling with that, no doubt. Now the Tennessee Titans. Pooh,
Yeah,
man,
what
this
about
is
the Titans? What about Mike Vrabel?
God, man, Tennessee. I don't know what they're gonna do here.
Well, you kind of wish there was a better tight end, don't you?
Right?
I mean,
Yeah, they could go tight end. They could go. I mean, they need receiver help. I don't know what receiver you could take here. I mean, I feel like you should probably wait until day 2 to address that. I mean, shoot, AJ Brown was a day 2 pick, and look how he's panned out. So I mean, I don't really see them reaching on a receiver. They do need cornerback help though, and man, I hate to do this because I want him to fall to my Saints, but I mean we got to be real here. I mean, I think they. I mean, although I do say this though, like the Ole Miss connection. I mean, AJ Brown was an Ole Miss guy, so I mean Elijah Moore, the slot guy from Ole Miss, could be the pick, as well as two guys, Elijah Moore or Greg Newsome from Northwestern potentially. I'm torn here on what they're gonna do. I
I
feel like
fell
real.
for you, my friend.
Yeah, I just feel like I guess I'll be real and say they're gonna go with Newsome, even though my heart is hoping he falls to the Saints. I feel like he's probably more of a like because they need both corner and receiver help. So while receiver might be a little bit more of a need, they kind of need more outside help because Corey Davis was a bigger receiver, and they signed Josh Reynolds, who's a more of a slot guy. So I think they'll
Yeah.
wait till day two to address their receiver need. I think they'll go with Newsome and shore up their cornerback position.
Okay. Okay. I won't argue. Okay, the New York Jets.
Another Jets pick. Yep, I had their first one. I went Wilson. Where they go here?
Well, tell you what. For me, it's only hard because I'm not sure which one I like better. It's going to be a running back here.
There you
It's
go.
either going to be Najee or it's going to be Etienne. And I'm going to say, just because with the Jets, their running back's probably going to get a lot of work and he's going to get a lot of bumps and bruises until they clean up their offensive line even more. I'm going to give Najee Harris of Alabama to the New York Jets.
I think they need to do it because their running back depth chart right now is in shambles. I mean, they have absolutely nothing at running back. I mean, it's garbage. Tevin Coleman, I mean, that guy is not a starting running back. Dude averaged 1.9 yards a carry last year. Total garbage. I mean,
there's problems. When last year they signed 37-year-old Frank Gore.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. Yeah.
He leads the team in rushing by the end of the season.
Yeah. You gotta draft a running back or else you're gonna be probably like, oh man, should we bring back Frank Gore? Man, we need to re-sign him. No, hell no. You need to go ahead and draft his replacement because the fact is the sad truth was Frank Gore was their best running back last year. So you need to draft his replacement ASAP and go ahead and roll. Yeah, Najee Harris, he's a big back. He can handle the workload. I love ETN, but I feel like for what the Jets need, Harris is probably the better fit because he's a big back. He knows I mean, he's gonna get it done there between the tackles. You would hope, but I mean, he's not like those Alabama backs. I noticed this trend with the Alabama backs. They tend to take a little while to develop, it seems like. But I mean, with Harris, they're gonna throw him into the fire, so they're gonna have to hope that he's ready to roll sooner than later. Because I mean, he's gonna have to handle a lot of carries.
See, I think he will be ready to roll because he came back for that senior year last season.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, because now that he's come back, yeah, he's got.
And I can tell you and your podcast listeners, I did brave the COVID, and I went to the Senior Bowl this year for my 24th straight season.
There you go. Keep the streak going. We talked about on Billy's show.
Harris was still hurt from the championship game. He came to Mobile anyway. He showed up on the practice field for the first 3 days of practice. And he even suited up for the game even though he didn't play. He is a tremendous teammate. And that's something else that a Jets locker room, when you're a bad team trying to rebuild, character in your locker room can really speed that process up.
Yes, indeed. Yep, and we're speaking of speeding the process up, we're gonna have to speed up this draft here to close out because I know we've been on for I think over an hour now, y'all. So we're gonna have to speed it up here. I'll go rapid fire with these last few. I'm gonna go with Pittsburgh here, and we're gonna keep the running back train going. Give them Travis Etienne from Clemson. I feel like he's good fit here. They need a workhorse. I know he's not as big as Harris, but shoot, I think he can. He's got 3-down potential, and he'll do the trick for a team that's desperate for a running back.
Weight every year at Clemson and not lost speed, so I think you're safe. You're safe with that pick.
Yeah.
Okay, now the Jaguars with their second pick, and I'm going to say again, they need some wideouts that are explosive, and it's a bit of a reach, but I'm going to give them Kadarius Toney, the wide receiver from Florida. He could almost walk to training camp.
There you go. Yeah, I think he's more of a bigger receiver, right?
No.
Oh, he's a small guy too.
He's not a midget, but he's 5'11", 190.
Okay, yeah, seems like a lot of small receivers in this draft. Yeah, he's there but I mean that's kind of the trend though. I mean the receivers, Chase isn't even that big. He's only 6 feet.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
They want quickness and they want speed, and I'll tell you what, Kadarius Toney will give them both of those.
Yes, most definitely. Yeah, now we got the Cleveland
the
Browns. Yeah, this is kind of interesting to see where they go.
From strength this year. They definitely should be looking to pick the best available athlete because when it comes to starters, I don't think they need anything.
Yeah, they're in a pretty good spot. They can just take kind of like their best available athlete here. I think. Yeah, this is kind of tough. I think that shoot. I'm not like too familiar with him, but I think they could go. What about that safety from TCU, Traven Morig? Isn't he's a solid athlete.
Good job, buddy.
I think that could happen. Shoot, give him. Because they don't really have like any big needs. He's the first safety off the board from TCU, so I think I think they do that. It makes sense.
Yep, I can see it. The other one that's been talked about a lot is the Christian Barmore kid from Alabama, the defensive tackle.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Still no defensive tackle. Yep. Ravens up next.
Up first of 2 picks because of their trade with Kansas City of Orlando Brown. Okay, Baltimore, for me, given what's left here, it would be a slam dunk for Jalen Phillips, the defensive end edge rusher from Miami. But I think there are going to be lots of questions about this kid's medical.
I got you.
And I'm really hesitant to draft him here, but what the heck? It's only a mock. And he fits exactly. They lost Matt Judon. They lost Ndakwe. They aren't going to have much coming off the edge for pressure.
Yeah.
Phillips is lean enough that he can play linebacker. He can play standing up or with his hand on the ground. So I'm going to say Jalen Phillips, the edge rusher defensive end from Miami of Florida.
I got you. And I already typed in my Saints pick at 28. I had to go with the defensive tackle, Christian Barmore. We need defensive tackle help. Lost Sheldon Rankins and Malcolm Brown in free agency. So I feel like if Barmore would fall, hell, we could take a corner on day 2. I really would like a corner here, but you'd probably have to reach. I don't think Asante Samuel or any of the Georgia kids would be the best pick here. I wouldn't be mad if they did since it's such a big need, but I think defensive tackle is also a pretty big need, so Christian Barmore will beef up that front 7.
Okay. All right, now I'm just going to throw some spice in here for you. Okay?
All right, Green Bay Packers.
Green Bay Packers are going to trade their first-round pick.
Oh, first trade at them. Okay, I'm sure we'll have some more on Thursday than just this, but what you got here for a trade?
Okay. Well, I gotta get my other sheet out here because I gotta make sure I remember where this other team is that I'm thinking of. There might be a trade here.
Yeah, we kind of up against the clock, so.
Yeah, stop the tapes out. Okay, they are gonna trade their pick number 29 to the Jaguars for the Jaguars' first pick in round 2, 33. So they're only moving back 4 spots.
Okay.
And the Jags are given one of their 4th-round picks and one of their 5th-round picks. Okay?
Heard that.
Okay. Now we go back to Jacksonville, and I think what Jacksonville is going to do is take what they couldn't get value from where they were sitting before. Robinson, their undrafted rookie free agent running back, was a revelation last year. But
Yes.
he's a little guy.
Fantasy hero.
Without any big-time speed. They're going to take Javonte Williams, the running back from North Carolina.
Ooh, that's smart. Yeah, they trade up over the Bills, who also need a running back. Yep, I could see that. I could see it. That would definitely kill James Robinson's fantasy value, but I mean, shoot, they're trying to win in real life. They don't care about fantasy, so.
Right.
Yeah.
And at this point, Aaron Rodgers is signing his contract to do Jeopardy because once again, the Packers aren't going to get him a wide receiver in the first round.
Right? Yeah, I think he's kind of just like, yeah, he's just chilling. He's like, yeah, probably. If I win another ring, cool. If not, well, I got Jeopardy lined up. Must be nice, huh?
Okay, so now who's Buffalo going to take, buddy?
All right, yeah, Buffalo Bills. Yeah, they need it. They don't really need much. They're kind of in the same spot as the Browns, you know. So they kind of get kind of a luxury pick here. I mean,
I think they're looking for depth.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, they could use some depth. Mm-hmm. Let's see what they do. I think they'll go ahead and roll with maybe the what about edge? Do they need edge help? I mean, I know they're kind of like they're pretty good. What about the cat from Miami, Gregory Rousseau?
Is that your pick?
That's what I'm thinking about doing. I think you know what.
Is that your pick?
I mean, yeah, we'll roll with it. I mean, they could use some depth because I mean they have Jerry Hughes getting kind of up in age. If he's so I mean, yeah, I'll roll with Russo. I mean, I mean, yeah, I'll go with him because it's like because I think of the Bills. I'm like the Bills are good with edge, but it's like you got to think ahead though in this business. You can't, especially if you're in a position of luxury like the Bills where you've got a lot of depth. So I mean, you might.
You're right on, Spencer. Jerry Hughes is 32 years old. He's an undersized defensive end who basically edge rushes.
Yeah.
And he's got a pretty decent salary, and I don't mean that in a good sense. He's making big bucks.
Yeah, they'll probably move on from him after this year, considering his age, and then they'll have Russo ready to roll.
Getting ready to pay some big bucks to a guy named Josh Allen in another year.
Oh yeah, they're gonna have to cut some people. Yep. Okay, I thought I was going in the right direction there. I was just like, I'd never mocked an edge to the Bills before, but
the Ravens, we're almost there.
Almost there, baby.
From Kansas City, I think they're going to take that LSU boy, Terrace Marshall, the wide receiver.
All right. Didn't he have some potential medical issues? I like Terrence. I think he'll pan out, but what was the word with that?
But if I remember right, it was either high school or a freshman.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's good. All right. Well, then, yeah, I could see him going in the first round. As long as he clears medical, yeah, he's good to go there. And now we wrap it up with the champs, Tampa Bay. Boy, I hate to say that. Ugh. Yep. Brady, man. That's just, why did he have to come to the NFC South? Like, really, dude? Stay with Belichick. Damn it. But, oh, well, bitter Saints fan in me talking there. We'll see. Really? Yep. Well, I mean, Antonio Brown, a lot of people are thinking he was going to re-sign, but he's yet to do so. And I was thinking maybe Mark Marshall to him, but, I mean, I think they could use another weapon for Brady, and I think they will do so here and go with Elijah Moore from Ole Miss to cap off round one.
Okay. Now, if we were going any further, I think the Packers might be upset at you.
Oh, yeah, because they were going to maybe draft him at pick. Yeah, they'd have 33 if we would start round two. Yeah, let's do a whole 7-round mock, Pigskin. Let's do all afternoon.
I'll tell you what.
We could, geez.
Just because I lived in Wisconsin for 40 years and they wore me down and I became a Packer fan, I want them to take Elijah Moore at pick 29 because the Packers haven't had a good slot receiver since they let Randall Cobb go in free agency.
Yep. Yeah, they could use one for sure. Alan Lazard was decent last year, though.
What they don't have, it's real simple in my mind. The two things the Packers need to draft now, I bet you they won't draft either one of them because of their philosophy. The Packers can't stop the run. They need a big 325-pound defensive tackle to stick in the middle. And they've got a bunch of big wide receivers, but they don't have a little guy who can come out of that slot and break wide open and run for the next 10 seconds over the middle of the field.
Yep.
And they won't address either one of those needs. There, I got my complaining out.
There you go. So let's recap this thing. For those that stuck around for the whole episode, huge shout out to everyone from Guru Nation that did, and huge shout out to Pigskin for coming on here. Let's recap it here. First to the Jags, Trevor Lawrence. Number 2 to the Jets, Zach Wilson. Third to the Niners, Trey Lance. Fourth to the Falcons, Kyle Pitts. Fifth to the Bengals, Penei Sewell. Sixth to the Dolphins, Jamar Chase. Seventh to the Lions, Jalen Waddle. Eighth to the Panthers, Justin Fields. Ninth to the Broncos, Patrick Surtain. 10th to the Cowboys, Rashawn Slater. 11th to the Giants, Micah Parsons. 12th to the Eagles, Devontae Smith. 13th to the Chargers, Zaven Collins. 14th to the Vikings, Elijah Vera Tucker. 15th to the Patriots, Mac Jones. 16th to the Cardinals, J.C. Horn. Whew, that was the first half. Now,
you're halfway home.
Yep, now the second half. We saw with the Raiders, and this seems like a crazy pick they would make. Aziz. Say the last name for me, Paul, if you don't mind. Ojulari. And 18th to the Dolphins, Kwity Paye. 19th to Washington, Jeremiah. Mind finishing that one for me, too?
J.O.K.
Well, it's all right. Yeah, J.O.K. We'll just go with that. 20th to the Bears, Caleb Farley. 21st to the Colts, Christian Darrisaw. 22nd to the Titans, Greg Newsome. 23rd to the Jets, Najee Harris. 24th to the Steelers, Travis Etienne. 25th to the Jaguars, Kadarius Toney. 26th to the Browns, Trayvon Mooring. 27th to the Ravens, Jalen Phillips. 28th to the Saints, Christian Barmore. 29th to the Jags via the Packers, Javonte Williams. 30th to the Bills, Gregory Rousseau. 31st to the Ravens, Terrence Marshall. And 32nd to the Buccaneers, Elijah Moore.
There you go.
Yes, sir. All right, thanks again, Pigskin. And y'all make sure to go check out Pigskin's work on the GBN Great Blue North Draft Report. That's right. You see it here on screen. And here is Pigskin Paul got his own page. I see Pigskin's page. And tell the people about what your latest work. You've been doing team mocks lately, right?
Yeah, I finished up the team mocks just last Friday, and we did it by divisions this year. So we were picking for 4 teams at a time.
Oh, okay.
And it's just a fun exercise, makes you think a little bit. And next up, I need to do my top 100 list, although it's going to be top 105 because that's how many picks in the first 3 rounds this year, and put that up at the site. And then I'm going to do one last on Wednesday, or maybe Thursday morning even, one last mock of my own.
Sounds good, man. I'll probably do the same. We'll did our little consensus mock there, and we'll each have our own up for y'all. So we'll have ours up on our Guru Nation Instagram page, and then Pigskins will be on the GBN. So y'all make sure to go check that out. All right, Guru Nation. I know this is a long one in our debut back in the podcasting. We have been out of the loop a little bit. We'll have our co-host Josh back on in the next one, hopefully talking post-draft, where the guys it'll be more of a fantasy-based episode next to see where everyone ended up and how their value will be for 2021 fantasy football. All right, peeps. Thanks to everyone that tuned in. Thanks for Pigskin for coming on. I think we've done all the damage we can do. So appreciate it, y'all.
I think so. And thanks, Spencer, for inviting me.
Oh yeah, anytime, man. Great having you. Great having a long-time scout like you on here, man. Like the 24 years going to the Senior Bowl. Always good to get your insight.
Thanks, buddy.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Peace.